Hello, I'm Kira, and today I'm setting out on a quest to play the absolute best cryptocurrency, Web3, NFT, blockchain, buzzword video games. And when I say absolute best, I mean I'm going to try to find the ones that are good if they exist, because this is likely looking for a unicorn with two horns, because let's be real, crypto games are utter garbage. So this video series will be called The Worst Crypto Game Ever, or something equally silly but true. Because in search for the best, I'm going to come face to face with the reality that there is no such thing as a good crypto game. Or maybe I'll be proven wrong. I guess you'll need to watch to find out. So, a little bit about me. I'm a lifelong gamer. I know how to find good games. You go to Steam, you search by current playing population, top sellers, user review scores on websites, and then you just choose whichever looks or sounds like it might tickle your fancy. Which we all probably take for granted as a concept, just how easy it is to find the best games in the world within minutes. You don't really ever have to worry about anything else. But this is where I ran into the first problem straight away, the first roadblock with finding Web3 games to play in the first place. There is no platform that hosts these games that shows user numbers, so you can't see which games are being played. There is no platform that hosts these games that has reviews anybody could trust. There's no amount of Google searching or Twitter searching that I can do that isn't just full of shill posts. In development games that don't exist yet, or multiplayer games that claim to be the future that turn out to have precisely 0 players online and play like baby's first video game. So even finding these games has been rough to say the least, and that's why this video is going to be split into 3 games that I tried instead of just one video for one game, at least for this first episode. The first one I tried, which almost made me give up on this entire video series idea, is called Grit. Grit is on the Epic Game Store, one of the many blockchain games that are there, hidden away like Harry Potter under the stairs, just waiting for Uncle Vernon to come in and hit them with the belt for making a little bit too much noise. Grit is apparently the ultimate Wild West battle royale, where there's more to winning than aiming true, according to them anyway. So I straddled my fastest steed, loaded up the game, and what do you know? It didn't work. I was met with this lovely error message about my failure to log into Gala, which is the cryptocurrency attached to Grit. We'll learn more about that later. I finally managed to figure out how to get beyond this bandit in the road, preventing me from reaching the gold rush that is Grit the game, and this is where I was met with a perfectly usable, albeit ugly user interface. I pressed play and waited for the fantastical thrill ride I was no doubt about to experience. And wow, what would you know? A match found, super fast. This game must be popping off. Who knew Web3 was hiding a gem like Grit with such a thriving player base? Just one small problem here. I was the only fucking person on the game, and why wouldn't I be? After all, the game looks and feels like any other indie developed battle royale without any charm, character or reason to stand out, except for one thing of course, the cryptocurrency. But since nobody's playing the game, is that a positive? Of course not. So this is where I decided to close out of that pathetic limp penis that is Grit the video game and open up the Gala Games website to look at how much money people are selling and buying items for, which is where I came face to face with the hilarious reality that I totally forgot I had an online argument with a Gala Games sponsored supporter about 18 months ago on YouTube, where he told me I'm an idiot for doubting Gala and that it would be the greatest video game platform ever, pioneering Web3 and, get this, killing Steam as a platform, which today, as I record this video, Steam just hit yet a new user milestone for users online. Well, first, how did I come face to face with this memory? I first remembered that Gala tokens were about 50 cents each when I was looking at this back in the day, and I saw these boxes Grit were selling for around 58,000 Gala tokens, which of course is fucking insane. So I looked up the Gala token price, and they're 2 cents each, down from an all-time high of 83 cents each, a net loss of 97.1% value. So it's a shame I don't get anything except half an erection by saying I told you so, but here you go, I fucking told you so. So now let's examine, at least in my brain, why Gala's fallen so hard. Well, very simply, it's because crypto gaming hasn't, and in my opinion, will likely never take off. And if they were to do so, it would not be off the back of companies like Gala who were taking the throw every piece of human feces at the wall and see which one sticks approach to business. I mean, just look at their roster of games. None of these are the future of gaming. But anyway, back to Grit. According to this website, people had spent money on items for the game, which makes it all the more pathetically sad that there isn't anybody playing it. Because at least if there's one thing you can count on, is that sunk cost will keep people doing something even if they don't enjoy it. And sunk cost with money is definitely something people have with crypto games and gaming in general. But the fact nobody's playing this doesn't surprise me at all, considering the people who buy NFTs or crypto for these play-to-earn games are not gamers the vast majority of the time, because real gamers are playing real games that exist and not games that embody everything bad about gaming like microtransactions, but worse, since crypto games are essentially built around that as a concept instead of being a enjoyable product first. At least with a lot of games that have bad monetization, there's a game first and foremost you can enjoy, and then the monetization is also there. Whereas with a lot of crypto gaming, it seems like the crypto is first, and then maybe there's a game later, almost as if it's an afterthought as a vehicle purely to make money, which in most cases it is. So that's a lot of words to say that the core reason I believe crypto and NFTs in games will never work is that gamers want to play games. Dollar store investors want to play investor and speculate on games that they will never play. Then if that game gets popular because of the game, then the people who own all the stuff are people who have no reason to sell other than to make money, and gamers won't spend that money to get that stuff because it will be too expensive. But that's getting off track. Let's move on, because this is where I moved on from Grit. Just one bad experience, I thought. The next one will definitely be better. And it was a little bit, I guess. So that's when I took to Twitter and started searching through the countless ads, shill posts, bag-holding babies clinging to their massive losses, screaming for anyone to listen that the future is on the way. And just like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses, this time next year, they will be millionaires. Which is where I came across Kompete, the team-based multiplayer battle royale game. According to their Twitter, they had so many players online right now that the servers were at capacity and they were having to deploy more. Oh shit, here we go lads, we might actually get to play a video game for this video. Crazy concept, I know. Downloading Kompete, I could barely contain my excitement, especially since it was on the Epic Game Store, which allowed me to avoid downloading some filthy third-party installer that might take over my machine and use it to mine cryptocurrency. With Kompete downloaded, I booted it up, and with credit to the devs, the login process worked. It just did. It was like any normal game, in fact, a little bit easier. I searched for a trios game, and in what is yet again just another battle royale, I got into a game within a couple of minutes, and the game worked. So far, so good. Unfortunately, that's the only thing that was good, because Kompete as a video game is not. I mean, playing with 300 ping is going to make most shooters feel fairly bad, but just in terms of fluidity of controls, graphics, and the feel of the game, it's exactly as mediocre as you would expect. It isn't offensively bad. I wasn't screeching angrily about being subjected to playing it, but as someone who's searching for the future, and who has played thousands of games in my life, including dozens of battle royale games from the best to the worst, I need to be realistic here, especially when you're reviewing something. Very clearly, Kompete has precisely zero reason to play it over the alternatives that are already available and popular on the market. This is just a statement of fact, and it comes from the simple information available from an hour of gameplay. Kompete doesn't feel, look, or play any better than anything else available. And while sometimes better doesn't need to be an upgrade, it can just be something that's different enough. Kompete is not different enough to stand out in any discernible way. So why are people playing? Just to be clear, this isn't tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands concurrent players. This is a couple thousand at best, as far as I can tell. And they are playing for the novelty of the crypto and NFT aspect, which I'll give the devs credit for, is not in any way rammed in your face to actually try the game. You could just interact with this product without ever knowing it even has that stuff, and you wouldn't be any worse off for it. But there would be no reason to ignore this stuff, since that's the only reason to play this game in the first place. That being said, it does work, you can log on, you can play it, and you know, it's not a terrible game, it's not offensively bad. I can see some people even enjoying it if they don't have access to other, better products. And I guess by virtue of just working and not being offensively bad, it's already one of the better crypto games that people are probably jumping on to try, especially with the zero barrier for entry. So in conclusion, I'm not mad at Kompete, it's just not a good game, and I'd never subject myself to playing it again, because there's simply no reason to do so over something like PUBG, and this game is on mobile I believe, so you could just play PUBG Mobile instead, but at least this was possible to try out, so congratulations to them on that I suppose, for the very bare minimum. And that does sound like I'm mocking them or being sarcastic, but compared to most of the other Web3 experience games I've tried, which has been quite a few over the last couple of years, that's actually an accolade. But of course this is not the future. This game has done nothing to innovate or improve on the design, it doesn't do anything new. The only praise it can receive is that it exists and it's not offensive. But that isn't what's going to make Web3 gaming mainstream, which is what I'm looking for, which is what I've been told repeatedly. I'm a dinosaur from Web 2, I don't know what I'm talking about, blockchain games are going to take over the world and draw in the normies of what they call Web 2 gaming. So continue the search, let's move on. The last game I tried for this video, and easily the most popular one that's easily made the most money of these three. And it's kind of sad that we had to cram 3 of these games in to even get one video's worth of content, but hopefully that won't be the case in the future. So we took to Twitter again, and we started seeing people talk about Kiraverse. Kiraverse is the future, Kiraverse this, Kiraverse that. Alright, since my channel is called Kira, fuck it, I'm in. This one required me to download a shitty third-party app, but without too much trouble at all, I was in the game within about 10 minutes. The load screen features some of easily the ugliest character designs I've ever seen, entirely devoid of personality or charm, leaving me already dreading what was to come. And unfortunately, this was probably the high point for Kiraverse in all honesty. To quote Queens of the Stone Age, it's all downhill from here. I'm greeted by an interface that you can say, well, it ain't pretty, but at least it works. Except, it doesn't. We'll come back to that point in a minute. I press play, and just like Grit, I was thrown into a game with a now suspicious speed. And what do you know? It's empty. Oh well, maybe I just picked the wrong game mode. Exit out, pick another one. Nope, they're all empty. But at least with Kiraverse, they had the foresight to know their game would be completely bereft of a player base, since Web3 investors don't play video games that they claim are the future. They just post about them on Twitter and bag hold until bankruptcy or moon, whichever comes first. And, spoiler alert, it's almost always bankruptcy. So Kiraverse at least gave me bots to play with and against on a server hosted somewhere that gives me 270 ping, because they didn't design the game to give you local play even when there's 0 players online, and instead make you connect to the one server they have running for the game for the 0 people who play it, as clearly hosting servers in different regions will be a complete waste of money as nobody's playing. So for the gameplay, well, I mean, you can see it. The graphics are bad, the character models are some of the fucking ugliest things I've ever seen for absolutely no reason, the gunplay is absolutely mediocre, the movement is fine, the biggest offender is the control scheme, because by default, it feels like it's been designed by someone who had the concept of video games explained to them by a boss whose top gaming accolades involves beating Windows XP Solitaire and picking up the controller for an N64 at Burger King one time while he waited for his order. Overall, the game is not good, which is why nobody's playing it, because there is simply 0 reason to do so. Yet again, it's not better or different in meaningful ways from anything on the market. It's a novelty attached to something that most people are never going to want to buy, and even if they did want to, they wouldn't buy these ones because the game isn't good and they're fucking ugly. So that's when I closed the game and went to their website, which is where I was greeted by the utter abomination is their skin system. I mean, look, just look at this. It's just ugly as sin, but it costs $73 minimum each. Although you will notice that out of 10,100 items, there are only 2,400 owners, meaning there are far fewer people who believe in this nonsense than meets the eye. Also, you can buy these ugly alien babies too. They're like a few $100s each, if you are that particular brand of loser. So going back to the actual game, I figured since I couldn't play it, except against bots, I'd instead check the leaderboard and see who is playing. Now what's funny is that every time you hit a loading screen in Kiraverse the game, it shows you The Forgotten, which is their new alien babies they want you to buy. But in my head, I just kept repeating, Forgotten? You mean like your fucking video game? And that now becomes even more relevant, since I wanted to use the leaderboard to see how many people have played, for how long, and if people are using this at all. But get this, the literal epitome of hilarity for a crypto game claiming to be the future and having no players, when you click the leaderboard button, it simply crashes the game. Not once, not twice, but every single time I pressed it. Straight to the Unreal Engine error message, do not pass go, do not collect your internet funny money, do not buy an alien baby for a video game that nobody plays. Which is where I closed the game, uninstalled the launcher, and hope to never be back here again. So that ended my journey of Web3 games for this video. Hopefully this is going to become a regular fixture of the channel, because I am truly down to give proper, fair, and in-depth reviews for any cryptocurrency or NFT game. You're going to say, Kira, we've just watched this video and you shit on these games. How could you be fair? How could you be objective and unbiased? And I will say that these games are really bad. And if you think I'm biased, that's fine. No doubt some people are going to see this. No doubt some of them are going to be invested in these projects and they're going to be upset about my views and want to cope and find any way to say, oh, you're wrong. But all I have to say to you is this. If I'm wrong, prove it. Where are the players? Where's the interest? I didn't make this up. You can check it yourself. You can see it yourself on screen throughout. I didn't make these games have no players. You did. You did it by not playing it, despite feeling so much sunk cost that you would defend it against the truth. And no doubt there will be users who I am now going to encourage to tell me these games aren't the future, this one is. Tell me the games that you think are the best for the cryptocurrency industry to break into mainstream gaming markets, to steal population from Web2 games and to take this shit mainstream. I am very serious when I say I'm absolutely open-minded to playing a good game and then being convinced that the blockchain element isn't just a cash grab or a hindrance, but a value add. As long-time fans of this channel know, I've always said this for years, but I am yet to see it exist, and I'm operating with that in mind until shown otherwise. So suggest games and I'll look at them. You might not be happy with the results, especially if you've invested in them, but hopefully eventually we do get to something that I can say, well, at least it's a decent game, and then we'll talk about the other stuff that's attached. Either way, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Next time it will be the future for sure. You just watch.